Alright, so what's going on? Let's talk about Chain Battle. I don't want to make this too long because I think Chain Battle just is boring in general. But there is still a lot of people that seem to be confused. I actually made a post on Twitter about this, kind of just asking, like, where are people on this topic? Because I feel pretty confident to go into this. Now, I don't always get, like, the high ranking, of course, but that is not really going to be, like, your own fault. It really does come down to the RNG of who is on your friends list. So if you notice, all the big timers, right, they're all friends with each other. I think everyone I watch has Goresh as a friend, so they pick his friends and then they win because he has always, you know, the best units to pick from. So let's just go over what this is about and what is happening, so that way at least you can understand why you're not getting the high scores that you think you should be getting. We're not gonna really bother reading through like this because a lot of this is just junk. This entire thing really should be scrapped and just created differently. So here are your supporters, right? We can tell from the information given, the advantageous characters are GT Heroes, Dragon Ball Seekers, Giant Form. That's who we want to use. For whatever reason, it seems like every chain battle goes this way. It really seems like there's two, and then they pick one category to apply more so for the extreme side. And that's actually how it's been, I think, the last 3 or 4 chain battle, 5, 6, like almost every chain battle, I think. They'll pick 2 categories that actually go well together, and then there's another one that doesn't mix with the other 2, and it's mainly just to include extreme class enemies. So when you go through your list, you see who your advantageous characters are. Now, this is where you're going to select who your attacker is. That's what's going to be probably the first thing you should realize. So your first thing you're going to do is pick an attacker. Now, the reason GT Trio here is the best one is because they fit into GT Heroes and Dragon Ball Seekers. So that is why you'll see most people using them, and they actually have the highest score easily, by far. You can get up there for sure using someone else. There are other units on here that even are on 2 categories, right? So that is not like they're the only unit, but they're going to be on both, and they're going to have the highest attack, stat, defense, the highest average, right? The way it gets calculated is attack, defense, and HP. It's all 3, and then you divide by 3, and that's like your average score for all of them for that unit. And then they're going to be one of the highest because they're also a summonable LR compared to all of these other units that are like SRs and just really old units that aren't nearly as good. Also, right, like, so my Super Saiyan 4 Goku as an attacker, he's rainbowed for me, right? But he would give me a way less score just because he's only on 1 category compared to the GT Trio, who's 55% for me. But as you can see, they do give you a ton of options, so at least you can try and be competitive here. So when we look through the results, right, we have the insane fucking 140k numbers. This is actually a really good chain battle for a lot of people. See, like, look, this is Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but he still got pretty high, right? He actually, you know, did really well. But look at his lineup. His lineup is actually busted. We're gonna go over that. I guess we should go over that now. Yeah. So the lineup that you are looking to pick from, this is where it is really out of your control. You can just get lucky. You preferably want everyone to be advantageous, right? You want everyone to have this red glow. But obviously, as you've seen from many chain battles, that is not possible. Sometimes you probably, sometimes you probably cannot even have that because they don't even have enough characters to make a full advantageous slot. So this one, there is, as we scrolled through before, a ton of options. Now, you also want these guys to be on a lot of the same categories, a lot of the same links. You want them to all be very similar. It is very valuable when you have, see how these Trunks is? These are the same units. One's awakened, one's not. Right? So this, they're all the same unit. They're just, you know, I forgot which one. I think this is the awakened form. This is not. So they have everything identical because they're the same unit. They're only, I think he's only missing like whatever Shattering the Limit first battle, whatever that extra link is he gains. And then you come down to Vegeta. Again, look, all of these Vegetas. One random baby tossed in the mix, right? But all Vegetas. So they're going to have very similar links, very similar categories. That's how you get a very big number. I'm actually going to pause here. I'm going to just show what my clip looked like that I did earlier this morning. Alright, so this was actually my first run. I didn't get to show the picks in the beginning, but we can just see how it goes. So, everyone comes in. You can actually quickly just see the units, right? They're kind of random, right? This isn't the best setup. I went with mostly Gokus on top there. So you pause right here. You can slide up to pause the game real quick if you do it quick enough before it actually starts the meter. And then you can select who you want to pick. So I didn't have the best lineup, right? I had a mixture of Super Saiyan 2 and 3 Gokus. So links are not identical. Categories are mostly the same, I think, but links aren't all the same. And that's where my high score doesn't go as high as some of the other people. But you can see right here, we're going to get actually a pretty good score. This is my first attempt. So when Chain Battle first starts, right? Like 100 mil on my first attempt. Not bad. Do I show it in this? I think I show it on the next one. Yeah. Do I go into it? I should. Yeah, okay. So, right here, I'm gonna pause. So we can see, the numbers, right? That's telling you how many people share the links. So, yeah, I can't even see, I'm blind. 6 people in this top row all share pure Saiyans. Blah, 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 blah. So this is where, look at Super Saiyan now, 2. Giant Power, 2. This is where it's like, that hurts you. And that's why having, Super Saiyan 2 and a Super Saiyan 3, like, you don't want to mix like that because their links aren't going to be the same. So now, I'm actually missing out on some power here because the links are different. But everyone, everyone else was covered. This is another one too that counts. I would say this is not too big of a deal, but this can help you sometimes make up for numbers. The typing, you get extra points based on the typing too, so that does factor in. So the fact that there's 2 Fizz units that match up, that does help me. Going down, I think. All right, here are the links. Now again, everyone has Super Saiyan. Not everyone has Lineage. Not everyone has Golden Warrior, because there's some, I think there's some Super Saiyan 4s in there. So it messes things up, as you can see. First, we should have, ideally, everyone having a 6. If everything was 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, everything was 6, we'd have a maximum score. That's what you want. You can't always get that, but this is kind of out of your control because it's based on your friends list, which is why this kind of sucks a little bit. We go into the extreme side, and again, I'd say on average, I've noticed mostly the enemy teams have more categories and more links. I don't know why. I have noticed that. And this is everyone. Oh, let me clear this up too. So this is all the people that are sharing the links with your connector. So Baby has every link here. But now here's the issue. Final trump card, right? Only one person shares that with him. Actually, I'm gonna pause real quick and check something. Okay, I wanted to actually check the LR first from Frieza. I was not sure if he was Final Trump for some reason. No, he's not. So the only person he's sharing that is with actually the other LR Baby, right? So that is where this is coming from. So that is why also the connector is so important. This is the order in which things are important to you. That is on the screen right now. So your connector is going to have the biggest influx in your score. That's why changing your connectors is drastic, which is also why it really sucks when you're changing your connectors, because you can only use a connector once per rotation, per day. Once the day resets, your connectors reset. Or if you drain all 5, use a stone, and then you can refresh your connectors. So this is where you get the biggest influx in your scores, is when you're changing connectors constantly, and you don't realize it. So a connector is by far the most important thing. So there's actually a video, if you went back and found it, if you because you probably didn't watch it. I was going over Chain Battle with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and the sum that went up, I actually noticed it in the video that my score was higher when I had let me explain. I had Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, the Int one, the new one that just came out at 55%. I had also the Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta Rainbowed. So normally you would say, okay, the Tech one Rainbowed obviously should be the attacker. I got lower. Now they're almost identical units, so I could put him as the attacker and then put the Int one as the connector. It should be no different. The connector being rainbowed mattered more than the attacker being rainbowed. When the connector was rainbowed, that part I cannot explain why it makes a difference, but it did. Because my attack was dramatically higher when I would put Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta as a connector instead of the attacker, and I would only put the 55% Gogeta as my attacker. So that is why the connector is your most important asset. That is who you want, you know, rainbow, whatever, all the hot stuff. Then your attacker matters next. So your attacker, you preferably are going to want them to have multiple advantageous spots. You want them to be in multiple categories. Then comes the supporters, who you're actually getting selected here. Then the fighters. The fighters, is this in here? I think it's not. Right there. I stopped it right there. Okay. These are the fighters, I call them. I guess the support battle is what they're actually called. I call them fighters because they're the ones that actually do the fighting at the end. So, how many of them are like matched up, right? Only 2 of them are pure Saiyan. Oh no, this was weird. I don't know why. This should say, this is like weird the way they wrote this. So they're all pure Saiyans, but it says 2, and it's like how many each share with each other. So they wrote it really weirdly. I don't know why this is the only one they wrote like this. Oh, you know what I just realized? No, I was gonna say, oh, maybe they meant with the attacker, but that's not what it is. No, this one I'm pretty sure they just wrote this one weird. It's what they, I think what they mean is how many they share with each other. So if you look at the first Goku, he shares it with 2. If you look at the second Goku, he shares it with 2, so on and so forth. That's why when you look at Kamehameha, only one of them shares it with one other one. He doesn't share with the other one, so it's 1, not 2. If that makes sense. I'll say it one more time. When you look at the Kamehameha link, I think it's the Tech one. He's Kamehameha. He only shares it with one other person. So it's just like 1 instead of 2, which is weird. So that one they just wrote weird. Whatever. But the fighter actually has the smallest impact. If your connectors are fucked up, your attacker sucks, your supporters that you're picking suck, and you pick 3 fantastic fighters, you're gonna have a shitty score. It doesn't matter. You need your connector is your most valuable asset, followed by your attacker, then the supporters, then your fighters. That is the order that you need to focus on to make sure you try to get the highest score that you can. If you have a really good attacker, a really good connector, the best attacker, everyone's rainbow on supporters, but I don't know, you botch the fighters and you misclick them, that will give you will still get a good score. So that is that. So let's actually switch over in game. Alright, so this is a run that we recorded separately. Had something else that going on, so I wasn't able to do it immediately. Now we have GT Trio, obviously, you know, best person to select as the attacker. We have a pretty good line of supporters here. We have the best connector we could possibly have for those supporters. He's also rainbowed, ready to go, right LR. He has all the highest stats. I'm gonna pause right here and go over this one. So this happens a lot of the times with the extreme side. They don't really give many enemies that are advantageous. So the best thing that you can really do here is pick just whoever's going to be the strongest connector. Now, Baby is going to have the most categories. He's going to have the most links. He also has the highest stats on average compared to most of your TURs. I'd be curious to see Frieza. I would want to try that out once just to see, but There is also the unknown factor that we just don't know. This is why there's a lot of testing that goes involved with every chain battle. Baby does perform to be one of the best connectors. I do want to try Freeze out on a separate run. I'll probably post that on Twitter. But yeah, so that's why we pick Baby, because he just is consistently the best one. So a lot of links. Now, they don't all share him every, but at least it's still adding up to give pretty good numbers, right? 33, 4, 20. Not bad. But I do honestly just have not the best set of extreme class. But this does happen a lot with extreme class in general. There's not many. Best case is all Vegetas and stuff, but it's a little bit hard to find that. So yeah, like I'm looking around to see if there's anything else, but this team actually is a little bit worse. I'm gonna skip ahead a little. So we end up picking that team anyway. We have our attacker, right? Pick the best connectors that we can pick for both sides. Supporters, we have a really good top, not so good bottom. Now we pick our 3 fighters. We see 2 Super Saiyan 4 Gokus who are going to link up perfectly, and then the GT Goku, perfect. That's who we go for. They're going to share most of the links, most of the categories. They're the most similar units that you can, pick together, especially compared to everyone else. All right, and let's see what we're going to get. Bam, 102. Just beat another 2. So not bad, right? This is what you're looking for, just to be able to clear 100 mil. But again, like how much of this comes down to luck, right? Having the right friends is kind of lucky. But yeah, hopefully this helps. Let me know if it did. Share it around for sure if it did. If you have questions, definitely comment that down below. I definitely would like to answer any questions that might come up if I didn't already cover it. But thank you guys. I will see you later. Sorry, actually one more thing. So I wanted to actually show this run, because this is like a testing run showing just differences. So now look, I have all those Trunkses on top. They all link really well. Again, extreme class not the best, but you would think this possibly would be very similar in score, but it's not. It is drastically different for one reason: my connectors. So this Trunks, right? He's, my Trunks. They don't have, they're not like rainbowed, they're not like maxed out, like they don't have any of those like extra stats that make them stronger that you typically want. Now the Vegeta, yes, he is rainbowed, which is great, but his stats are just in general lower than Baby's. Baby's stats are just much higher. This is what I was talking about, where I said the connector is your most valuable asset. That is who needs to be the strongest person, really, that you're putting up there. That's where all your numbers are really coming from. It's not the attacker. So watch, like, if you wanted to go ahead, run the numbers, count all that up. I do believe the run I did before with 102 mil, that was a little bit more. I think I had 2 or 3 more links, which isn't much, right? It's very small. But look at how drastically different my numbers are. And I pick all 3 Trunkses again. You would think, again, this looks like a great run. It's not. Because my connectors suck. Connectors are everything. Which makes it more painful that once you use a connector, he's gone for the day. You have to wait for it to refresh or pop stone. So that is just something I wanted to show you guys, just so you can kind of understand like why you have bad runs. I promise you it's your connectors. 73 mil. So I lost 40 mil because of my connectors. That's literally why. So hopefully this all helped. Let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.